The survival genre keeps growing with new ideas, new worlds, and tougher challenges every year. There are tons of great choices out right now, so we went through them all and picked the top survival games you should not miss. Let's jump in and see which ones deserve your time. Ark Survival Evolved takes you from shivering in a loincloth to running around with giant dinosaurs like it's totally normal. At first, you're gathering plants, making a little spear, and trying not to get wiped out by other players or some angry raptor. But the climb is what makes it so addictive. Every hour adds a new tool, a new skill, or a new creature you can ride, work with, or basically turn into your personal tractor. The whole thing leans hard into crafting and survival. So if you enjoy that steady grind of gathering stuff and building your place up piece by piece, it hits the spot. And if you just want to tame every dinosaur you see, you'll have more than enough to keep you busy. It's rough at first, but once you get past that early struggle, Ark really opens up. Valheim sends you and a bunch of Vikings into a wild, half-peaceful, half-nightmare version of purgatory, and the whole goal is to beat the bosses holding you there. At first, the place feels chill. You're in a bright forest with boar running around and little gremlin guys yelling at you from bushes. You chop trees, build a shack, make some gear, and everything feels pretty manageable. But once you start pushing past that starter zone, the world snaps back quick. You wander into thick, dark woods where huge creatures stomp around like they own the place, then out into open plains with mosquitoes the size of your face that can drop you in seconds. Every new biome feels like a dare, and every boss fight is another big, "Are you sure you're ready for this?" moment. It's cozy, it's brutal, and it's the kind of game you keep playing because there's always one more thing you want to craft, build, or challenge.
Hey, sleepyhead. Finally up?
You left already? Well, I was hoping we'd have breakfast together.
Admit it. You thought I forgot your birthday, didn't you?
Exactly what I wanted.
Green Hell drops you right into the Amazon and doesn't bother easing you in. The jungle goes after you from the start. Every little thing matters. What you drink, what you touch, and even what's crawling on your arms when you check your body for leeches. One moment, everything looks calm, and then you're dealing with food poisoning or trying to stop a fever from getting worse. The place feels alive in a way that keeps you on edge. You're fixing broken bones, trying not to lose your mind, and learning which plants keep you alive and which ones ruin your day. It's intense, but once you settle into the rhythm, it becomes strangely addictive. You can play with friends and argue about who caused the latest disaster, or you can go solo and really feel the weight of being alone out there. Either way, Green Hell is rough, sweaty, and unforgettable. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 hits you right away with this heavy, tense air that never really lets up, and the Chornobyl exclusion zone feels like it's watching your every move. The whole place feels sick in a way that sticks with you. The busted towns, the strange lights, the quiet stretches that turn into panic the second a mutant crawls out of a ditch. You're picking through bags, checking your gear, and just trying not to bleed out in some ruined shack where a guy with a rusty rifle decides you don't belong. And when the anomaly starts sparking around you, that calm moment you had 2 minutes ago is gone. The zone runs the show here. You're just trying to survive inside it. Fans of Metro or Fallout are gonna feel right at home with how rough and weird this place is. It's messy, it's spooky, and it never treats you gently. Subnautica drops you into a world that looks calm from the surface, but the second you slip under, you realize this place does not care if you make it out alive. You're stuck on a water-covered planet with nothing but scraps, so you start swimming for anything you can eat or turn into gear. And because you're moving in full 3D with an oxygen bar that never stops taking down, even grabbing metal from the seabed feels like you're wrestling against the whole ocean. Stuff can come at you from above, below, behind. Every direction's a gamble. After a while, though, you build pumps, tanks, and your first little base. And suddenly, the water isn't just a threat, it's home. You craft subs, explore deeper trenches, and learn the pockets where you're safe and the pockets where you absolutely are not. And the weird thing is, the more you explore, the more the whole place starts feeling familiar, even though you're still very much the visitor here. Abiotic Factor turns this top-secret lab meltdown into this wild mix of panic, science toys, and co-op scrambling that never really slows down. You play as a bunch of scientists stuck in a facility that's basically tearing itself apart, and the whole place feels like someone mashed classic 90s sci-fi with a survival sandbox. One second you're piling desks against the door to keep mutants out, and then you slip into some weird pocket world where gravity and logic just give up. The cool part is how it blends all the usual survival stuff, building a base, digging through junk for parts, crafting gear, with sudden anomalies and strange creatures that keep you guessing. Sure, the combat feels a bit stiff and the AI has its moments, but the world has so much personality that you just roll with it. If you're into co-op survival games and you miss that old school sci-fi chaos, this is a really fun one to jump into with a full group. Rust greets you with nothing but your bare skin and a rock, and it almost feels like the game is laughing at you while you figure things out. Early on, you're chopping trees, smashing stones, and getting eaten by wolves before you even manage to put up a shack. But once you build something sturdy and craft a few weapons, the whole mood shifts. Every trip outside feels like a gamble because you never know if you'll bump into another group, start a firefight, or lose everything you're carrying. The best part is how unpredictable it all is. People you meet might help you, trick you, or chase you across the map with a spear while screaming. And the moment you finally stand your ground and win a fight you had no business winning, it's unforgettable. Rust is messy, loud, and full of betrayals, and that's exactly why it works. Sons of the Forest throws you straight into trouble the second your chopper hits the dirt, and suddenly it's just you, a wrecked island, and Kelvin, bless his confused soul. Your rescue mission goes out the window fast, and the whole thing turns into carving out a life in the middle of woods that feel peaceful one minute and straight up haunted the next. You're setting up a camp, gathering sticks, growing berries, and trying to pretend the soft river sounds aren't hiding something watching you. The cannibals don't rush you right away, but when they decide to show up, you'll know. It's survival with just enough calm moments to make the scary ones hit even harder. Icarus builds its whole thrill around dropping you onto a hostile planet with a timer hanging over your head, and every run feels like gambling with your stuff. You grab what you can, watch the clock, and hope you make it back to orbit before a storm wipes you out. The cool twist is how your progress sticks to your character back in the station, so even the bad trips teach you something. Everything wants to drain you, your oxygen, your heat, your food, your sanity, and the wildlife isn't exactly friendly. Playing alone can be rough, but rolling with a crew changes everything because suddenly you're coordinating, fixing problems, and hauling loot together. The storms look amazing and feel downright mean, and half the fun is watching your perfect plan fall apart. Frostpunk 2 locks you into this freezing world where every choice feels like it might break the city you're trying so hard to keep alive. You're running a society that's barely holding on, and now industry is pushing its way in, forcing you to decide what kind of future you're even trying to build. Growing the city keeps people alive, but it also stirs up fights, and every policy you sign makes somebody angry. The best part is how the city itself feels like this big machine that only runs if you're willing to get your hands dirty. It's tough, like it really makes you sweat over every decision, but that's what makes it hit so hard. If you like games that push you to think about what kind of leader you'd be when everything falls apart, Frostpunk 2 digs right into that. Grounded turns an ordinary backyard into a place that feels way more dangerous than it should, just because you're the size of a crumb. Suddenly, blades of grass look like tall trees, and every tiny bug feels like a boss fight. When you jump in with friends, the whole thing becomes this mix of exploring old science labs, grabbing scraps of info, and then crafting gear out of whatever tried to chew your face off. You're pulling mandibles off ants and making armor like it's no big deal. It scratches the same itch as a Monster Hunter loop, just with a lot more spiders and lawn toys scattered around.
Way to survive out here. I would recommend building a base, maybe a simple shelter of some sort. Oh, and weapons. You'll probably need some weapons. But you should be fine. Unless you get eaten. You'll either be fine or you will be dead. It's really up to you.
No Man's Sky has been through a lot, but the survival side of it has been there since day one. If you want to drop yourself on some unforgiving planet with barely enough supplies to stay alive, the game absolutely lets you go all in on that. Over the years, the worlds have gotten prettier, stranger, and way more interesting to poke around in. Giant sandworms show up, you can hop into a mech, and you've got plenty of ways to team up with friends and travel as far as your fuel allows. There are tighter survival games out there, sure, but not many with this kind of scale, or the feeling of heading off into the galaxy with nothing but hope and a half-broken ship. Dune Awakening brings the rough side of Arrakis to the front and never really lets you breathe. The heat, the storms, the sandworms, everything keeps you on the move. always looking for shade or water before the planet decides your lunch. Funcom really sticks to the harsh vibe of the world, and that makes settling down tough because the land doesn't want you staying still for long. Combat can feel a bit soft, and the bugs pop up here and there, but the twist on the story, a Dune where Paul never becomes Paul, adds something fresh to dig into. Even with the grind, it's one of the closest games to capturing the tone of the books in a way fans can really sink into. DayZ drops you into a dead, quiet stretch of land that feels like it could swallow you whole, and the only thing you're really sure about is that everything out there wants you gone. You start with almost nothing, so the first few minutes are this scramble for anything: water, a worn-out jacket, a half-empty can of food, while you're glancing over your shoulder the entire time. The zombies are loud and messy, but the real panic hits when you hear footsteps that aren't theirs. Every stranger could be the reason you lose hours of progress, so even walking into a town feels like rolling dice. You grab what you can, try not to make noise, and hope whoever's watching doesn't feel trigger happy. And just when you think you finally settled in, something stupid, like a broken leg or spoiled food, can knock your entire run off the rails. It's rough, but that's the whole point. Every tiny win feels earned because the world gives you absolutely nothing for free.
Enshrouded takes that classic survival loop and twists it with this thick, creeping fog that makes wandering the world feel tense from the moment you start. You wake up in a broken land where the shroud slowly eats at your health, so every trip into that stuff feels like you're racing a clock. Above the mist, you're grabbing materials, laying down bases, and getting better tools, but the real treasure sits in the ruins and dungeons tucked beneath the surface. The combat hits hard and stays smooth, and the game gives you plenty of ways to build your character. Skill trees, magic, crafted gear, all of it tying together in a way that feels quick and punchy. The Shroud pushes you to think before you run into danger, but it also makes every successful dive feel great. It's got a little of that Valheim flavor, but with heavier action and a darker edge. Out of the newer survival games, this one really sticks.
7 Days to Die turns every in-game sunrise into a reminder that the clock is ticking. You wake up in the dirt with nothing but scraps around you, and right from the start, the world feels mean. You're digging through busted houses, hoping you find anything better than a bent pipe, and the whole time, you're thinking about that first 7th night. Because once that red moon rolls in, the undead stop wandering and start hunting. They hit your walls hard, and if you built some half-baked shack, it's gone in seconds. The loop is simple but addictive. Scavenge, patch your base, level up your gear, then pray it's enough. Even with its rough edges and creaky visuals, the tension is real. No matter how well you prepare, you never quite shake that feeling that the next horde might be the one that ends you. Conan Exiles throws you into a wasteland that feels like it wants you dead before you even stand up. One minute you're wandering a burning desert, and the next you're swinging at crocodiles, raiders, and whatever giant creature decided to crawl out of the sand that morning. You're gathering stone, chopping trees, crafting gear, and slowly turning a tiny campfire into a fortress you can actually trust. And yeah, the whole build a kingdom while wearing barely anything thing is very real. But the wild twist is how you can capture enemies, break their will, and make them part of your crew. It's harsh, a little questionable, but also a huge part of what makes the game tick. Before long, you're looking at your growing band of followers and wondering how you ended up running your own rough and tumble empire in the exiled lands.
love men. It might have been kinder to leave you on the cross.
Escape from Tarkov turns every match into this grim treasure hunt where the only real win is making it out alive with more gear than you walked in with. That's the whole deal. You drop into huge maps full of tight hallways, busted buildings, and players who absolutely do not care if you're new. They just want their bag full and their exit clean. The gunplay leans hard into that military sim feel, so every shot requires actual thought. Nothing here plays like Call of Duty or Apex Legends. It's slower, heavier, and way more stressful. You're listening for footsteps, checking corners, and hoping the guy lurking around the next bend has worse aim than you. And on top of real players, the NPCs hit just as hard. They see you for a split second and suddenly you're on the floor wondering what just happened. But if you can roll with that roughness, the game builds these wild little stories. Those moments where you scrape through a fight with barely any health left, grab a backpack full of loot, and sprint for the exit like your life depends on it. It's intense, it's harsh, but pulling off a clean escape in Tarkov feels like nothing else.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you love survival games, tell me which one you think should be #1 in the comments. I'm always looking for new titles to try. If you enjoyed the video, hit like and subscribe for more game lists and reviews. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.